Hey everybody, welcome to opening weekend of Tactical Supremacy. I'm bringing another battle report. I'm joined today by Roman, and we played Retribution versus Khador. Alright, so for today's game we played Spread the Net. We had an obstruction in the middle of the table. You had two forests and a wall on one end of the battlefield, and on the other side there was a trench and a hill kind of forming this out. There was a piece of water terrain blocking off one of the flags. All right, so today you played Khador. Yep. Tell us about your matchup and your list.
I brought my two pairs, trying this out for I5. I'm bringing Vlad 2 Armor Core. I think he's probably the best caster for Armor Core. And I brought Butcher 3 and Winter Guard Command with Alexia, rockets, rifles, that usual type of stuff. Against Ret, I'm not too sure against his Viros and his Kaelyssa. I was just afraid that, you know, the shooting from both of them, maybe get rid of my sack pawns, get rid of my Alexia just by shooting her with like Phantom Hunters and guns that can see through forests, because... Right, it removes a lot of your attrition stain power. It's a lot of fun when your opponent could just ignore some of the line of sight rules of the game. So I decided to bring Vlad because I think Armored can do it. But we played Spread the Net, so it's a bit difficult. A lot of my army is very slow. Except on feed turn with Vlad. We played this match before. I think we can do it again.
All right, so I chose to play Kaelyssa today. The Viros list that I have, I just don't feel like it had enough punch to get through you, and then Helios has no decent pull targets for this, so I ended up opting to play into my Kaelyssa list with the Hydras. I don't really have a good assassination on Vlad 2 because he can stay so far back, but the Hydras are really able to solo hunt really well, and you have a lot of solos and models that just make good prime targets to take big POW 15 shots.
Just love to die. So you just saw me do my advanced moves. I have 3 units, so I get to do 3 advanced moves.
Because it's a theme benefit.
I'm measuring out with 3 sticks, counting them as 1. Thank you for letting me do that. I need bigger sticks. I am measuring out the Hydra's shooting threat. First turn. Basically, I know I'm probably going to be in them. I want to run everything first turn because, like I said, my list is really slow. I know he's probably just going to shoot 2 Shocktroopers off the board. I'm hoping he would roll really low, so only 1 would die. But I'm making sure that the Shocktroopers move as far forward as they can, but leaving the UAs out of that 21, right?
Because we have played this matchup before, and in that game, I targeted your solos.
Yeah, you shot my Kovniks off the board, and it just makes everything so slow.
Right.
So I have to make sure that my Shocktroopers run up, my solos stay back, making sure they're behind that 2-inch measure stick right there. So there's one. My UAs, if you can kind of see them, they have the blue axes because they're like frost axes, so it's pretty cool.
Right.
So here you go. I'm moving.
It's a beautifully painted army too, by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So I moved up. I ran up Victor. Everything's gonna go but Vlad first turn. Nothing really to do. No shooting for Victor because Victor is pretty awesome. 24-inch threat with Hand of Fate. It is a pretty awesome gun.
Yeah, it's real strong.
I'm measuring here the Harpy, right? Or is it the...
Yeah,
so I'm measuring out the Harpy to shoot. I just knocked over Bombardier, but that's cool. Bombardiers are just running, making sure that they're right behind the Shocktroopers.
Just kind of unpacking yourself and preparing for the next turn.
Saxon hangs out back.
So you were kind of setting yourself up. Like, where were you envisioning going with these units?
I should have, I think my mistake for deployment, right here, I am Hand of Fate Vlad Arcane Might Vlad, Hand of Fate Victor.
Right.
I should have moved. I think I should have swapped the Bombardiers over to the left, and Victor stays more right to capture that zone. Because I could just shoot Bombardiers into his rectangle zone. But
right.
I guess my thought was I have Victor to the right to shoot, or to the left to shoot, Bombardiers to the right, so I should be fine.
Okay. So yeah, on my turn 1, I'm looking at the way you're unpacking. You're doing a good job keeping everything that I would really want to shoot, important solos and things like that with the Hydra. With your caster being out of assassination range, my next target with the Hydras is always to look for solos that matter to an opponent. And since we played the match, you knew not to put them in range. So. Yeah. Looking at it, I decided that since you ran with your stuff and you weren't in shield wall, now was a great time to take a few pot shots and try to remove stuff, because the attrition, as much as Sentinels can get work done, I feel like you just have a lot of boxes to eat through, and the quicker I can start putting a dent on stuff, the better off I'm going to be. So I more or less move the Hydras get loaded up so they can do their shooting. The Griffins, he's really positioned. He's not going to do too terribly much this game. Besides, I was envisioning, or pretty much just planning on having him stay in that rectangular zone and hold it. My plan here was to try to pressure that flank and hold that side and kind of push you back. Since you had put less models out there, I figured that was where I could put some leverage in and win that side, and then kind of hold you out there and try to go for a scenario victory. Pretty much I decided that was probably the best way I was going to get this done. Vlad's really tough to kill, turns out, without some lucky shots. So I wasn't really thinking that unless you gave me the opportunity. So on this, I decided I was going to shoot at, try to remove some of the mana wars on the side that I want to kind of pressure here with the Hydras, making sure to keep them outside your charging range, because your feet is actually really important in this matchup for it increases your threat range. It does all kinds of stuff that I prefer not to see. But I was also planning on feeding on turn 1 here, since you had been so far up, and because I get 2 inches extra deployment, our lines were actually really, really close together on that first turn there. So I decided I was going to put refuge up on the Harpy. That's what I was measuring there with Kaelyssa. I made that decision because I figured with flying in the forest, I could do some obnoxious things and bounce in and out and block your line of sight while still, putting some shooting down. So also having the Sentinel Scyir, the 2 of them can just sit on that flag over there and hopefully hold it and score it for as long as I need to win the game. But I was also putting that Griffon down there on that side as a potential target to go run in and contest that zone when the time came. So just trying to make sure to, threaten you while keeping my models safe. That Griffon that was up at the top there also happens to be in range of the of the flag. So if you were to put something on it, I'd be able to charge it.
So sweet.
Yeah, the out-threading your melee range was really nice. I mean, you have a lot of shooting in this list, which is strong.
I think my melee range is farther than yours.
Sentinels, yes, if you don't trigger the vengeance.
But the feat is, your feat stops me from just...
time walk,
Yeah, just go walking in there and slapping things around.
Yeah, it is nice to kind of stall things out. So I did make a mistake here. I chose to mini feat with this Sentinel group that I'm moving right now, and it really wasn't necessary. It's always a constant struggle trying to decide if it's the right thing to do when I've done the feat. Sometimes it is, sometimes it doesn't. In this particular case, it ended up not being the right thing because
I feel like it was depending on things that happened later. But I mean,
well, yeah, because I guess I figured I knew that you were probably going to shoot over there with the Victor. I was making sure to try to keep my support models as far back as possible so that they wouldn't be very easy to pick out targets, or if you did decide to go for them, you would only get them.
Yeah.
So I was definitely presenting the Sentinels as the better targets to shoot at, and so I figured, well, he's going to light me on fire, so it doesn't trigger vengeance. I might as well, mini feat so that I just don't die from the shot, and then hopefully survive through the fire. That's what the thought was. I feel like it almost would have been better to let that shot kill something to get the vengeance. since,
Yeah.
but 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. Who knows? So that unit ended up. The other unit did not. They made sure to spread out and kind of stay away from you. And so I pretty much passed turn after just kind of setting myself up.
So Vlad upkeeps both of his spells, Arcane Might and Hand of Fate, on Victor. He doesn't give any out because usually I load up Victor to like shoot stuff, but stealth is a thing. Victor does have a flare, which could come in handy. It has come in handy in lots of other games, but I decided not to use it. He gave me a spot to target a Sentinel kind of in the back row, in between both rows of Sentinels, with arcing fire. He gave me that 1 inch. So I decided my best bet is to just scatter a fire shot and just set them all on fire. Kovniks go in, disrupt pace. Victor walks up a little to the right, so I can maybe get to the zone next turn. He puts that flare shot in between that little pocket, that little hot pocket, and...
Because this ended up being important real quick on your movement of your Victor here. I mean, he didn't step into the zone this time.
No, he did not. Because I figured you would throw something into the zone. So why put Victor into the zone if I'm not going to score? Because the Griffin's going to be there.
Sure.
So here he goes. I scatter backwards and I clip 4 Sentinels.
3. It was 3 Sentinels and a Griffin.
Oh, the 3 Sentinels and the Griffin. Okay.
Yeah. So it was good scatter.
It was a pretty good scatter. I will, setting that back row on fire. Didn't do any damage. I'm rolling more dice than I should, but it would never hurt them because they're...
Because you were, it was a POW 8.
Yeah, dice off 12.
Dice off 12 because of my mini feat.
So even with Hand of Fate, it does nothing. So I'm like, okay, well, they're just set on fire. No problems. Rolling dice that are useless, so perfect wasting time, but that's all right. So those guys are set on fire. I make sure that even if they were to go out, I don't want my stuff getting charged by them. I leave this suppression tanker out of charge for the Sentinels and the Griffin because he's going to be the solo that scores the flag. If anything does come up towards him, the Shocktroopers get rid of it and he just sprays whatever because that's what suppression tankers do. They spray stuff and they're great.
Right.
So here I am contemplating more about the positioning for the Shocktroopers. I know I'm probably going to lose the far right zone because I don't have the speed to contest it. That is the one big problem I have. I usually, when I play Armored Core, I go, especially on Mirage or Spread the Net, it's usually I'm going to just be under points, but I'm going to just try to score as much as I can so I don't lose. And I just attrition the whole time. Armored Core, I think, wins the attrition game 100, not 100%, but a lot. They can't win the I'm gonna score out on scenario game because there's no point to it. Vlad moves over within Hydra range, but I doubt. I was thinking
you were camping 4 focus at that point.
Camping 4. Vlad gets hurt. He goes up to armor 18. I put up a wind wall just in case. I don't know why. I just felt like, hey, it might be nice just in case the Harpy flies over. I'm measuring where the Harpy is at. I figured, hey, I can get a Shocktrooper there to maybe.
To contest,
so I just put 1 Shocktrooper there. And then I was like, oh, did I just race them? Yes, I did. So
what you're trying to do, I mean, it's important to note you're not actually scoring anything.
No, I'm not.
You're setting yourself up for one more turn.
I know I'm not going to score at all because he has the pieces to contest.
Right.
I can't contest. I was hoping here that you would only score possibly 2 max. What I messed up is there's a Shocktrooper that just went into the circle zone. I should have put more Shocktroopers in the circle zone. So that was my mistake. And that really hurt me this turn later. But the Shocktroopers went up, shield wall. Bombardiers afterwards just kind of run forward. Just positioning themselves outside of the 13.
Because you still don't want to be taking this a charge for my stuff. As much as your guys are survivable, they still don't like taking those hits.
I feel like the suppression tanker can take the hits. So if he does want to send out the Griffin, it can. And I feel like it was kind of baity. Oh, right here though.
Real quick.
Those fire rolls.
Sidebar. You set all four models on fire. All 4 fire rolls went out.
That's when the game changed forever, and
Yeah, it was.
made me cry.
That was unfortunate, but sorry. So you were saying, so you were trying to bait me with
The suppression tanker.
Okay.
Because I can just push your Griffon out of the zone.
Yeah, I completely forgot about bulldoze.
Yeah.
But so I'm looking through here. I know that attrition is not my favorite since we've done this matchup before. We've played this game, so I'm looking. All right, you are not scoring anything, which was really big. So I didn't even really need to super worry about contesting. And as I was looking at it, it's like, okay, you have one model in the circle zone, you have one model contesting the flag, and then the rectangular zone, you're just not even in it at all. So I figured, all right, if I can get 3 points up on you and kind of jam you up a little bit and stop you from really pushing in and force you to have to kind of clear me out to score some points, then I hopefully can get far enough ahead on scenario that I can win before you attrition me down. Because at this point I haven't lost any models, which is big for me. But I know that's going to change real quick because one of us has to go into the other one.
Those fires, those checks needed to not go off.
But I mean, you positioned yourself appropriately so that you planned accordingly, which was smart. It was unfortunate that definitely shouldn't have happened, but I got lucky on that one.
All 4 fire checks.
Yeah, so here I'm setting up. I've kind of figured out what I need to do, and the Hydras are basically going to, since you're still keeping the Kovniks out of range of them, I decided I'm going to use the Hydras on this one to try to remove the mana wars. And I'm going to, you'll see I was measuring there, I'm trying to use the obstruction to make sure that Victor can't get on my jacks. If you go in on some Sentinels, it hurts, but the jacks are the things that if I have to try to deal with your Victor, are probably going to do it the best way. I just truck some damage rolls here.
Blasting armor 21 dudes to death.
Yeah, it was
like
pretty
when you roll a 14 to kill.
Casual 14 to kill him.
Yeah.
It was pretty delicious. So yeah, I was able to remove the one. So now that circle zone is mine for the taking.
My mistake.
Yeah. And then I don't kill this guy, but I do take quite a bit of boxes and put him into a position where I think I can get him relatively easily. Yeah. I have the Harpy. The plan with the Harpy, is he's going to jump in, do his thing, and then jump back out of sight. So I did have a minor issue here where I didn't know if I actually got him close enough to be out of the 3. So it was a lot closer since I didn't proxy it out first. That was my mistake. But where I did position him, there was actually a small line there.
And he misses, thankfully, but
it's the first shot.
Up.
Double snake eyes into boxcars. Can't really ask for it any other way.
And that's a dead Shocky right there, I think.
Yeah, I do manage to get the Shocktrooper barely to the box.
No more contesting. So there's your.
Yep. So at that point, now I have all 3 of the points I wanted to try to get, and now it's just a matter of positioning myself in such a way that I can hopefully hold you back from being able to roll in and contest everything, and then be able to set myself up for the next turn to win is the plan. So on here, I wasn't even thinking about whether or not that was bait, so I totally fell for it. Good job there. In my thought, I was like, well, he hasn't put the Victor into contest yet, or into score, but I'll put the Griffon there and at least make you have to deal with him. In my head, I figured you had to kill it to remove it. Not even thinking about bulldoze, but
Khador doesn't have tricks, but hey, bulldoze is a kind of one. So.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. So I do throw him in there with a charge. I think I got some pretty decent damage on him. But
5 damage, I think you did.
Yeah, took him. Did a bit there, but didn't actually kill him. But I wasn't expecting that to happen. I was hoping, but with the way the dice were rolling at first, but it didn't quite go. But that's okay. He was. At the time, I figured he was not going to be removed. Yeah. But,
And I'm like, all right, cool. I bulldoze him, move Victor to both zones, and I'm covered.
Right. So yeah, so now I need to put a unit inside this circular zone. This Sentinel unit had not mini-feeded yet, so they will be running up and mini-feeding and just kind of trying to gum you up and slow you down. I can't really get too far past that obstruction, but I figured if I could make it so it's you bottleneck yourself.
Yeah.
Because I keep forgetting about arcing fire is a thing.
It is a real thing.
So I figured I'd just run in, bottle you up. But I got to make sure I get everyone into the zone, which kind of ended up being a mistake because I just cluster up around these Hydras.
I think if you were to just even just toe the zones with just around the outer edge of it, I think
probably would have ended up being a little bit less on the follow-up. But I was more concerned about getting everyone into the zone and just kind of
getting your point, which is what you need.
Right, and gumming things up. So I was also debating on this one. Well, at this point I had decided that the Griffon is just going to live in this zone. So he's just kind of going to stay where he's at, and the Sentinels are going to run up there, try to contest as much as possible. I was hemming and hawing and trying to decide whether or not how many Sentinels I actually wanted to put in contest range, since I know you have the ability to just pretty much remove all of them between your feet, Victor, and the stuff. So it's really a question of how much I'm willing to lose, because I'm forcing you to have to kill them all. So I ended up making the decision to put 5 in there, and we'll see how that does. I mean, half the unit to lose is pretty rough, but it's also not, it's pretty hard to remove. Unfortunately, I didn't have their mini feet, which would have been great to have, but these things are the way they are. So I just end up running that. Kaelyssa is staying as far back as possible. I do believe I checked kill box at some point. I hope I did. I did at some point, because I know that where she was standing, she was fine, and she was pretty much going to live on that wall. There was no real chance, or you didn't bring Vlad close enough. Yeah.
So my turn. I decided to give 2 out to Victor. I have 6. Give 2 out to Victor. This I decided I'm going to shoot this Jack with Victor fireball and just set those Sentinels around it on fire.
Because I put way too many.
I need to kill all those Sentinels over there. This is a feat turn for Vlad. I need to make sure that I don't mess things up, and I put Hand of Fate on the Bombardiers afterwards, so Victor has to go first.
Because at this point, you were down 3-0.
Yes, 3-zip. It hurts. I was only hoping to go down just by 2.
Sure.
Here, I'm putting Victor into the rectangular zone. Just do all that fun stuff. Just measure that I'm not within 2 of that guy, but I was realizing I'm definitely out of 2.
Yeah, no, you were fine.
And Victor just goes to town. She's amazing. She just shoots things off the table.
It is really strong.
That fireball shot shoots the Jack, so that way everything surrounding it just gets set on fire, hoping that his low dice rolls don't ever show up again for those fire checks. And
you did a fair bit of damage here on this Hydra, but the Victor wasn't, the plan wasn't for the Victor to kill the Hydra. It's mainly to light everything
on fire. And then
you did end up getting
Victor's guns were supposed to shoot those 3 in front, but I couldn't roll an 8 on 3 dice, drop the lowest to kill them. So I was pretty sad about that. You'll see me just completely flail at those shots there.
Yeah, the mini feed did actually help in this case.
Well, I mean, I think with the mini feed, my problem was hitting. I was just missing.
That's true.
Because I needed 8.
Sorry, you're right.
The first one hit, or the last one hit. I had 3 on one side and then 1 on the other. I missed all 3, and then the 1 on the other side hit, and then I just boosted damage.
And did kill the guy.
Yeah, and did kill the guy. So. Here, I noticed, hey, I can have the Bombardiers. Definitely going to clear out those 2 with Hand of Fate, POW 14s. Then I was like, I need to also kill the solo off the flag, so that way he doesn't score this turn.
Yeah, I didn't really check this. This was definitely a mistake.
Yeah.
I probably could have positioned my Scyir a little bit more where the Harpy was, but that was a good play on, and then seeing that.
Here is the bulldoze and then 2 shield punches. Does a couple points to the shield, nothing really, but just get it out of my zone, get it out of my face.
Exactly, because now you're scoring with the Victor.
Yeah, because now I'm going to score with Victor, so I'm not losing as much.
And I'm super sad because I didn't forget about those.
Saxon Orrik moves over. He gives those Shocktroopers Pathfinder because they're going to go in. And then Vlad goes, walks up a bit more, check my control range. He feats. And then I roll a beautiful 5, I think. So that means I get 3 6 Shocktrooper or 6 warrior models. They get +3 to all their stats for a round, which is pretty sick. Basically, you just stabs them with nice steroids, and they're ready to go. They're juiced up.
You call them all-stars.
No, they are the all-stars because they put stars. Hey, now they're all-stars, and they're going to get their game
You're
on.
going to get us in a lot of trouble with that.
Oh, no. Anyways, I tried to put it over by the tankers, but I realized they're too far out, so I gave it to the Shocktroopers and 2 Bombardiers, so that way they're Rat 9, so I don't miss with Hand of Fate.
Because I did have Iron Sentinel on him. So you had asked that before, and the defense 15 is actually... It saved him more than a few times. It's pretty substantial defense with an Arm 18 as far as the solo's concerned.
The Bombardiers move up and the Bombardiers go now. They mini feat, so that way the ones that forfeit movement double tap. They get to shoot twice, which is pretty nice. Never really get to use it, but now I do. With Hand of Fate, Rat 8 on most of them.
You were living the dream.
They're pretty much going to hit everything and kill everything. So here to the Scyir, I'm definitely within range, Rat 9.
So you end up making the decision on this one to do the combined range.
Yeah, which is probably...
We're talking about, you're measuring here to shoot at the Arcanist with one of the shots, but you ended up making that decision. Why did you go with the CRA?
Because I needed to kill him. I felt like I needed to roll. I roll not so hot, but I mean, it was enough to barely kill.
It was enough to barely kill him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I figured you have a bunch of solos that you can just run anyways. You have the one Arcanist all the way in the back that can run to that flag, so it really didn't matter. I just needed not to score you to score this turn. Then now the Bombardiers are going up against those Sentinels, and even though they're Iron Sealed, they're just sad because Hand of Fate POW 14s just do lots of work. It's pretty gross.
So.
Yeah. So right now, still measuring for Bombardiers. It's taken a while. This is probably the biggest chunk of time that I have because the Bombardiers are they take a while to roll 3 dice, drop the lowest. I like the Bombardiers with Vlad. Hand of Fate is a spell. Once all this is done, my plan is just to kill a Hydra. I feel once a Hydra is dead, Vlad can just do whatever he wants. So with that, I'm going to send Shocktroopers over to the Hydra afterwards. This is still Bombardier shooting Hydra. And then I'm going to send 1 Bombardier to contest the flag, which...
It was a Shocktrooper that you
Oh, Shocktrooper.
Yeah. So you do end up, you almost killed the Hydra with the shooting. I mean, as soon as you started talking about it and you feed it on them, you were going to kill that Hydra, which you had mentioned that you wanted to do that because you don't want to have Vlad be constantly at risk of being shot.
Just getting shot.
Right.
Here is the Shocktroopers. They're just going to go in, clear those ones in the front, and then the Suppression is going to do what he does best and spray.
Right, because your plan was to kill everything and score this flag.
Score the flag. So the Suppression goes in. Right now he pumps up the flag, and he sprays all 3, aiming at the Griffon in the back.
Yeah, so we were checking here because you did the spray 8, and we were checking to see if it hit the, 1/4 Sentinel on the corner there. It was so close, we ended up just saying it didn't.
So there they go. I hit with 2, and then the last one misses, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
This is me cursing at my dice because that means I can't score that flag. I have no more shots over to that side.
Yeah, that was rough.
So that is just really unfortunate. That means I'll only score 1 point this turn, and that means he will only need 2. I should have thought of that as well.
Yeah, because that pretty much at that point sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Because the other important thing is you're still not getting into the rectangular zone.
No, the rectangular zone is a dream.
Right. So now at this point, you're only basically keeping the score tied to where, or you're not changing the score, you're not gaining on me, you're just getting it.
So here's my all-stars. 3 go in. They're just shield walled, so that way they can just get their armor 24, armor absurd. The 1 goes over to where the Harpy's at to just contest the flag for next turn. My mistake, I think I should have put 2 near the flag, so that way they're both arm 24. But I just really needed to kill this Hydra. I feel like once the Hydra's dead, my life feels a lot better, and maybe this was just me being angry because I'm not going to score 2 like I thought.
I mean, it did end up mattering because you did need all 3 mana wars.
Yes, I did need all 3 mana wars. which I'm thinking Vlad could have just Arcane Might to boost attacks, so that way I could get just 2 on them. But
Right.
that last one goes, and he actually boosts his damage, but doesn't cripple anything, which is unfortunate.
It was, but you got, I mean, you trucked some damage on him.
Yeah. And then after that, I removed the Wind Blast from last turn. And then it's Sam's turn, and he just...
So you score a point, I score a point.
Yep.
It's now 4-1.
It is not good.
Yeah, so the plan now is I'm talking this through. I need to stop you from scoring, and I need to score 2 points.
Yeah.
So we start talking this through. I have the rectangular zone, no problem. I don't need to do anything about that. The circular zone, you have a victor in it, and I haven't even scratched that and don't have nearly enough sentinels to get close. So that's not an option. The flag, I'm already contesting, or your flag up there.
Yeah.
I'm already contesting it. As long as I don't leave that zone, I'm fine. And so it really came down to, all right, I need to kill 1 mana war contesting my flag and contest your rectangular zone, and I win. So I did do the fire rolls first there. There were a lot more that died this time.
Yes,
They
thankfully.
did not go out.
I think all but 1 Sentinel died, and then your last Hydra took some damage from that.
Yeah, he took a little bit of damage, but it was he had been pretty much untouched, so it didn't. It just kind of scratched the shield a little bit.
Then some vengeance moves here.
So
a little...
because these guys have extra defense and extra armor, I didn't. Typically, I would move in and make swings, but I knew that I needed to, if it mattered, I was going to have to charge you to get
one
some
guy
damage
makes
through.
a swing and you
Misses.
roll a 5, and you're like, well, I hit you, and I'm like, nah, I'm defense 13.
It's so gross. They're so much more nimble than some Sentinels. It makes me so sad. But doing their vengeance moves, just moving stuff up to where I'm like completely flooding and contesting in case I happen to just brain fart and forget. They're already sitting there ready to
just beat.
So now at this point it's just a matter of, all right, I need to put stuff in. You did have the Man of War in melee with the Harpy,
yes.
Which Phantom Hunter is something that it does not ignore that. But so I need to get the Harpy out of melee range of him. I was also checking there to make sure that if I move the Arcanist up before I kill the Man of War, or hopefully kill the Man of War, I am not moving that Arcanist into melee range.
Yeah, to give him the bonus as well.
Right, because Refuge has been on the Harpy all game, and I figured, because it works on melee as well, that I hit you, I walk away, take the free strike if you don't die, and then that frees me up, and I don't have to worry about you being in melee from the shooting.
Yeah.
And I also was looking at on this one, the Griffon, he kind of had to do some contesting. I was originally looking about which way I wanted to go around. I knew I was going to take a free strike. I ended up choosing to take a free strike from the Suppression tanker and not from the juiced up, roided out Bombardier.
House 16 Bombardier ready to go.
Yeah, which can his crit shred
I think
trigger off that, or is that only during their activation?
I think that's only during their activation. Even if it was, I think you move anyways. I'm not too sure. We'll have to look that up.
Probably wouldn't have killed me either way, but just in case this was the less damage, my arm was kind of blocking that screen. You still did a really big hit on him. I think you ended up doing like 9 points of damage. So didn't quite get. You crippled the shield, but at that point it didn't matter. Just him being alive and contesting is what was the important part. So.
Harpy hits. Boom.
Yeah, put the Arcanist up to fuel the Harpy, who is only autonomous with his Jack Marshall out, so he's still able to do all of his cool stuff.
He rolls a big amount, I think a 6 for damage. And then he misses his last attack. Refuge is out. I'm gonna smack.
Yeah, you almost kill him?
I think so. It was a lot. It's 17. So
yeah, you left him on like 5 boxes.
Yeah. So I'm surprised they have so many boxes to start off with. I thought they were a bit weaker, but anyways, he lives. And I'm like, no more defense bonus. Set Shocktrooper. 2 boxes left.
It pretty much just came down to putting the Harpy, or sorry, the Hydra on you. Now I'm decided here. There's been too many times I've relied on one attack to get something done, and it doesn't work. Yeah. So I said, all right, well, I'm going for the win. I might as well move Kaelyssa out of her little hidey hole and have her try to add a little bit of extra damage.
Down the barrel of a victor.
Yeah, that would have been real bad. So pretty much use all her focus, putting the Phantom Hunters out and boosting a shot into your Man of War, because I had left you on 2 boxes with the Harpy. So I take the shot, I boost it, it's dice off 12?
Yeah, I think something like
10,
I'm
10,
at 20. Dice off
you're
10.
a 10.
You do 1 point, so
Right.
I'm on 1 box, and I'm
Right.
like, great, this is everything's fine.
Yep, yeah, because at that point it was like, all right, the Harpy just needs to hit.
Yeah.
I have Puppet Master on it. Eilish is in this list. Something I love that change. It just makes these types of situations feel a lot better when I know that if I roll real bad, I can just re-roll it.
And you hit with the hit, and then truck.
Yeah,
Boom,
truck
that's
the damage
it.
roll.
We affirm that you scored the 2 points, and that's game over.
Yeah.
So congratulations on your victory there.
All right, so Roman, overall, how do you feel the game went?
I thought it went okay. I thought I knew off the bat I was going to lose on. I was just going to lose out on scenario because spread the net again. It's very hard for Armor Core to get up to that rectangular zone.
Because you've played this, you played the game enough to know that that scenario is not your friend.
Definitely. And then I think positioning the Victor more central. I think maybe have him more to the right for that rectangular zone.
Yeah.
But not only that. The matchup, I think I was doing fairly well. I knew that if I were to kill that, last Sentinel that was contesting the flag, I'd have been a lot more comfortable because you would have gone up by the same amount of points, but I would still be. I wouldn't lose. So
right, because at that point you would actually gain a point on me. I would only be ahead by 2.
Yeah.
And suddenly, or sorry, by 1. I'd only be ahead by. No, 2. It would have been 2 to 4.
Yeah.
And at that point, then it's, now suddenly it's a lot harder for me to score 3 because you were completely in the zone. Now I have to look at trying to remove
2
the
zones
Victor.
with Victor.
Yeah.
Bombardiers that can shoot over Victor. I knew that my left flank was just going to get pasted by Sentinels that should have died from being on fire, but those fire rolls were disgusting.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. And then you ended up moving the Victor. Yeah, I think you did the right thing, moving the Victor back to the zone to actually score. But that did kind of just give up on that entire flank.
I think if Victor and the Bombardier swap places in the beginning of the deployment, I think it would have been a lot better off.
Sure.
Because that means those Sentinels would die on the left from the shooting, and so would the ones that were on the right from Victor. But I mean, other than that, like I said, scenario not looking really good for Armored Core, so it's just the attrition game. I think if things went the way I would like them to go, I would just get this out on attrition and just hope that I don't clock myself.
Right. And on my side, since we played that matchup, I know that I can't really beat you on attrition. So luckily we were playing a scenario where I had the possibility to get that scenario out. I feel like if we had done this matchup on something like the Pit 2 or the Invasion or something like that, where it's a lot harder to score those scenario elements, then I feel like it's a matchup I struggle into a lot more, and I have to then start looking a lot harder for assassination vectors because I just can't compete with you on that level, and I'm just not going to score out on that scenario. So I think it was a great game overall. Really appreciate you stopping by and playing, and we'll thank you everyone for watching.